topic is on creative pursuits. Creative pursuits. And so I will make the invocation. Normally, if we had a meeting in our meeting room in Plug and Play, we'll all stand up. But and I will do the invocation. Now, my inspiration for creative pursuit was actually based on a video I saw, and I didn't think about it. I always did my day-to-day work, and I didn't think that there's actually two parts of your brain. There's the logical part and there's the emotional part. And with creative pursuits, it gives you that balance. That gives you have to think logically because you have to execute. For example, if you're drawing something, you have to execute, use the right colors. But there's also the emotional side of it. And you'll notice that when you do something creative, if you don't put your emotion into it, it won't be as effective. It won't be as artistic. And so, uh, as we go through today's meeting, let's think about being creative, being using our emotions, using what's relevant at the moment in our speeches, and later on when we do our lockdown, right? There's a lot of you have to be also creative when you spend your time, and that's it. That's our invocation. Thank you very much. So we go to the next phase of our meeting, which will be the duty masters. First, we will have our accounter, which is Godam. Godam,
Hey, good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
yes.
Today I'll be the R counters. I'm responsible for counting R's, arms, any filler words throughout the meeting. Not only you are touring table topics or the speech, I'll be counting all your R's and arms, and I'll give the report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Godam. And our timer will be Wai-Ming. Wai-Ming, tell everyone your role as timer.
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, most welcome guests. As timer, I'm going to run this clock, which is in one of the squares on your grid. You have to go in the grid view to see it. And so there are three sections of the meeting. In the prepared speeches, I'm going to time it according to the time, which looks like it's going to be 5 to 7 minutes for each of the two speakers. So at 5 minutes, the green light will come on, 6 minutes, the yellow, and then at 7 minutes, the red light, and the speaker has 30 seconds to finish the speech. In the evaluation section is 2 to 3 minutes. So it's 2 minutes, green, 2.5, yellow, and then at 3 minutes, the red light, and 30 seconds for the speaker to finish. And in the table topic section is 1 to 2 minutes. And I'll report the time at the end of the meeting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Wai-Ming. All right, so we go on to the word master. I will be word master. The word for today is hypocritical, meaning you are pretending to be virtuous. For example, it's hypocritical of John to be giving me a compliment when really he didn't like what I said. So something like that. Okay. So again, the word of the day is hypocritical, pretending to be virtuous. Use it in your speech. It will be in the chat also. You'll see the definition in the chat. Use it in your speech, and I will report at the end of the meeting if you use the word or not. Thank you. And then for our grammarian is Harun.
Good morning, everybody, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I'm going to be the grammarian. My role is to follow the rules of the English grammar for all the speakers. I will be noting any violations that I know of or any interesting phrases that you use, and I will report back at the end. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Harun. Okay, our next role will be our ballot counter. which will be done by Hannah.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster. Most welcome guests. I will actually have to drop off the meeting by 8 o'clock today. I have another meeting right back to back. But if you I can either link the form to somebody, or if we want to vote within the chat. And then Jose, I don't know if you want to count up votes.
I don't have the link. Oh yeah. Will
If
you
not,
be?
we
Yeah,
want to do it within the chat, that's fine too. But I can also send you the link.
yeah. We'll probably just do it within the chat,
Well, just,
right? Well, yeah.
just send
do
the
it.
link. Harun and I did
You-
it
you know how to do
last
it?
time. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just send it. Who would anyone like to be ballot counter? It's pretty easy gig.
I can be ballot counter.
So just, yeah,
Yeah,
Do
well,
you
let me
have
send
the-
the link. I do have the link, and I'll send it out.
cool.
Okay.
Okay. So should I just I'll send out a link at the end of the meeting, or somewhere around there at that time. That'll be a Google Forms, and you can just vote for, okay,
Okay.
for best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our video master will be Harun.
Okay, well, thank you, Jose.
Yes.
As video master, my job is to record the proceedings of the meeting. This meeting, I will be recording this meeting. If you do not wish to be recorded while you're speaking, please let me know. I'll pause the recording. Once the meeting is over, I will upload this meeting to a YouTube channel that we have, and then I'll send out the link later today or by tomorrow once I upload the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Harun. Okay. Give ourselves a few seconds. Let me see that. I'll send out the. Okay. So the word of the day is in chat. Okay. So now we proceed to our prepared speeches. Our first speaker.
Actually, one second. Sorry.
Wait.
Can
go
we
ahead.
just verify who's evaluating whom?
Yes. Okay, our first speaker was going to be Gautam, and the next one will be Wai Ming. The first evaluator will be Hannah, and the second evaluator will be Georgie.
Okay. Did we have 3 speakers today?
No, we only have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harun dropped off. Yes. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. So our first speaker will be Gautam. He's a new member, but he brings us variety in our club in that his speeches are more into, I think his last speech was into nature and elephant and conservatism, but this time his speech will be on some very interesting principle we would like to hear. It's the law of reciprocity. Let's raise our hands for Gautam. Thank you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. So, my topic of the speech today is law of reciprocity. The speech, as I got the gist from one of the book I am reading recently. Okay, the speech goes here. One of the most weapons of influence around us is the reciprocity. The law of reciprocity simply says that if someone does something nice to us, we would get a psychological urge to do something in return. For example, we exchange gifts with our friends and families. We invite our neighbors for lunch. We take our colleagues for parties if we get one. The reciprocity can be exploited if someone recognizes it as a source of influence. It can be easily found in our regular life. When we go to a supermarket like Whole Foods or Target, there is always a smiling person who is ready with samples. We taste the samples and we end up with a product even if we don't like it. The reciprocity could enforce uninvited debates. The person who initiates the reciprocity will choose the favor and they choose the favor in return. I'll tell you a story. During my recent trip to Oregon, one of my friends took care of our breakfast meals and we were behind the schedule. We were driving all the way towards Oregon and I ended up in an Italian restaurant to give them back the dinner. Sometimes the reciprocation can trigger unfair exchanges. When my car needed a jump start, my neighbor helped me to jumpstart the car. After a few months passed away, he knocked on my door a fine morning and he asked if he could borrow my car. I returned back the car with a flat tire. Sometimes the reciprocal concessions are not exceptions. It is not the direct way of providing that person with a favor and asking them in return, and the reciprocal concessions are entirely different. The person usually starts with more than what they need and they end up with what they actually want. It could easily seen in our regular life where when HR starts the job of a negotiation, they usually start with less than what they have in their budget and they try to negotiate with the employee to get the better maybe expected values. For example, they start with a target of some X amount, but the actual target is X plus some amount. And if they give what employee ask, employee is happy and they are happy to sign the offer. So what can we really do if someone releases the power of reciprocation? Either by providing a first favor or some concession. Perhaps we just reject the offer, or we might not know whether it is really a favor in a healthy way or it's just an attempt to exploit ourselves. We do not know the real reason behind the favor that we initially get from our opponent. The best way could be to handle the power of reciprocation. We need to really understand the rule of reciprocity, the rule itself. The rule says that favors are to be met with favors. It does not require that tricks to be met with favors. After all, the reciprocity rule asserts that if justice to be done, any exploitation attempts should be exploited. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. Very interesting point on being on gratitude. You cannot be as our word of the day also is they cannot be hypocritical about it when you do it. So let's give ourselves a minute or two to send a private chat to Gautam and give him our feedback, what we thought about his speech, and maybe what we would like to recommend. Something a really short 1 or 2 lines. Uh, to Gautam will be nice. Thank you. Okay, we now move to our next speaker. Our next speaker, Wai Ming. He's a longtime member. He always gives you a very good perspective on how things are and recent events. So I'm very excited to hear about his next speech will be Asia's richest person. He put on January 7th, 2021. So it's very recent, right? Because that it looks like that survey or that ranking changes in time. So let's raise our hand. Let's raise our hand for Wai Ming.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, most welcome guests. The ranking does change. In fact, even if you look at the world's richest person, which was Elon Musk a few days ago, apparently it changed to Jeff Bezos, and it goes back and forth because it depends on the stock value. So the point with this story, this is a story about a person who was born into a situation that wasn't that helpful for him to become rich, but he took advantage of whatever circumstances he had and made it so that he became the richest person, at least on January 7, 2021, in Asia. He's actually the sixth richest person at that time, and who knows what his ranking is today. So this person is named Zhong Shanshan. He was born in 1954. In fact, into a literary family. His family was from history, it's gone through, is fairly well studied. They study things and so on. Unfortunately, he was born in 1954. By the time he was around 12, his family went into the Chinese Cultural Revolution, where they burned books, they destroy families, they put people away for like 10 years. And at that time, his family, because of their literary background, was considered right-wing. And in a left communist country, they were deemed really toxic. And so they were sent away into the countryside, hundreds of miles away from their home. And he stopped going to school. He was in the sixth grade and no longer in the sixth grade. And for the next 10, 15 years, he worked various jobs as a construction worker and so on. And by 1977, China opened up again and started college again. People can apply to college by taking the college examination. He tried twice and failed twice because he didn't have the background anymore to even understand basic algebra that was needed to pass the college examination. So he could not go to college at that time. And what can you do? At that time, you don't go to college and you go to broadcasting college. This is where you learn to become a broadcaster, maybe go on the radio station, go on a TV station. And he graduated around 85. And at that time, he didn't go to a radio station or a TV station. In fact, he became a news reporter. And for him, that was the best thing that could have happened, because being a news reporter, you get exposed to all types of new stuff. It could be bad stuff, could be good stuff, but he was exposed to a lot of different things, and he met a lot of people. In fact, he met one of his founders during one of those circumstances. And after 5 years, he decided he learned enough about what's going on. At that time, China was restarting. And he said, well, let me try something. And he became a beverage salesperson. At that time, people had bottled waters and all types of drinks and so on. He became a salesperson for a year. And then he started trying to start companies. And he failed many, many times. But he did find a partner in developing a pill that was a health supplement. And because of his background in news reporting, where one of the things with newspapers is how do you get more sales in newspapers? Is you somehow hype things up. Oh, there's this enormous news happening here. something happened, and therefore a lot more people buy newspapers. And so he learned to use that technique of hype, just making noise, and he was able to sell this health supplement and actually start making money in 1993. And with that money, he started this water company called Newfound Spring that eventually made him to be the richest person, at least on January 7, 2021. Now, so along the way, he also started another company, a biological pharmacy company that went IPO in the Shanghai Exchange around 2020. And the way he approached that one is he said to his people, with the money, go find scientists. I don't care what they study, what they do, just go find them. The only criteria is they have to work at midnight. Their lights have to be on at midnight. And if their lights are on, then give him some money and bring him to us. And then maybe we can use some of his stuff. So that was his investment technique. So with this company, so that was the biological company. And that company actually started making AIDS vaccines, among other things. And it's fairly high value today after 20 plus years. But his biggest investment was in the Nongfeng Spring Water Company. It started in 1996, and then over the years, he went through a number of different products. He was the creator of a lot of those products. It's just bottled water. A lot of those is spring water or different types of water, eventually milk teas, and nowadays coffee. And went IPO last year, and the company got $1 billion in income, but he owned most of the company, so he became a $45 billion person, and that doubled, and then now he's $90+ billion in, and therefore he's the richest person. Now, so what were his success factors? There's several key things, at least he promotes, is customer first. Always go after what offer the customer want, and it's similar to Amazon, among other companies that promote that. The other, of course, two techniques he used from his newspaper days is hype. One of the things that he hyped a lot is this idea of a water war. Water companies in China fighting each other, and he's promoted that everywhere. And throughout the years in 2002, and so on, lots of hypes around water war. And then the other thing is this event marketing idea, where he was saying, we need to find the best water in China. So he did a search all through different water areas within China and then make it this big deal, and then eventually end up with this lake that has this water is supposed to taste slightly sweeter. So promotion, and in the end, his whole thing is reputation and credibility are key to success, especially in consumer products. And the biggest thing for him is if you fail, just go to sleep and next day wake up and keep moving forward. That's what we need to do. Keep moving forward. That's how you become successful. So the point with all this story is no matter what your circumstance, whether you have education or no education, you take advantage of what you know. And if you keep moving forward, you can be very successful. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Wai Ming. Very, very interesting speech. We give ourselves a minute or so to send a private chat to Wai Ming and give him feedback on the speech. And as a reminder, our word for the day is hypocritical. Yes, have the hype, but don't be hypocritical. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your feedback. And now we move on to our general evaluator. Our general evaluator for this morning is Harun. Wait, did I say that?
I think
Yeah.
I'm a general evaluator today.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I put the wrong thing in here. Okay. The general evaluator is Georgie.
All right.
Raise our hands for Georgie. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Today we had some really great speeches, and the best part about Toastmasters when we give speeches is that we get instant feedback on them. Let me begin by introducing our evaluator who will be evaluating Godam. So please help me welcome Hannah.
Thank you, Ms. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Gautam, first speaker of this morning. And of course, this segment is not meant to be hypercritical. Gautam, you talked about a law of reciprocity, which in my mind, I was thinking of like random acts of kindness, karma, and thinking about the whole pay it forward kind of concept. But I do appreciate that you did bring kind of two sides of the coins in law of reciprocity. Right? You started out by talking about not only explaining the title, but you gave a personal anecdote of like samples at a grocery store, like a Costco, like Costco free kind of samples that people give out. And so that gave an image in my mind. You talked about the anti kind of reciprocation aspect. And then you also talked about the rules of reciprocity, like favors and giving out favors. So overall, I think content wise and pace wise, you did an amazing job, Gautam. And I want the mantra for this year, for myself or any kind of evaluation, to be progress, not perfection, right? So I feel like you as a speaker, you are making progress in terms of throughout your speech, you did smile versus I think in earlier speeches, your face would stay pretty neutral and there wouldn't be any kind of expressions going on. But throughout your speech, you did show interest, and then you did smile throughout your speech. And then you also use gestures, which right now in Zoom, it's kind of like, sometimes it's like a lost cause. But you also use most of the window, I can see your hand gestures, and then I can also see yourself in most of your Zoom window, which worked out pretty well. I would say the best things about your speech is your pace. It was very clear, easy to understand your language, easy to understand your topic, easy to understand the flow of your speech. I would say just adding more interest and excitement in your speech in terms of also vocal variety. The vocal variety, there was like in the beginning, you did show some vocal variety where you're kind of explaining the topic, but it kind of fell off and then came back here and there. So I would just say injecting a little more interest, a little more excitement in your speech. Like, this is why I care about this. This is why I'm excited about the law of reciprocity. You don't know what I learned. This is what I learned, guys. It's amazing. Or this is something that I discovered or I found out, right? So it kind of like keeps people's interest throughout the whole speech. But I would say overall, making progress, Gautam, as a speaker, and it's exciting to see you develop. So thank you, Gautam.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Excellent evaluation. Our next evaluator is myself, and I will be evaluating Wai-Ming's speech. Wai-Ming, an excellent speech, as we have come to expect from you, really high quality. I love, most importantly, from my point of view, the content of the speech. You bring content that is, for me, very unusual. We talk a lot about different entrepreneurs in this meeting, but usually I tend to hear about the ones more like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, those types of people. You always bring in people I've never actually heard of before. And so I'm always learning something new. And I found it really impressive because of that. You mentioned this man, Zhong Sen. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong probably, but I'm doing my best. And I thought it was excellent because I've never heard of this gentleman at all. And the idea that he's now the richest person in Asia, and I'm completely oblivious, I always get so much, like I said, out of these speeches. I thought it was really great in the way you gave your speech. You had only maybe about 4 slides, but they were packed with information, and every single point was new and very clearly explained to me. So I was able to easily follow what you were saying. You did a wonderful job compressing the man's life down to just a few bullet points, but making it clear kind of who he is as a person because of the kind of struggles that he had to do and where he has gone and where he is now. The other thing that I thought was interesting was the amount of failures that he had, but he didn't let that stop him one bit. Nothing seemed to really slow this guy down, which is so very impressive. The idea also that he was turned failure from getting into college to instead learning basically how to do marketing and how to access people's thoughts and emotions through mainstream media and through events was just astonishing to me. What I really liked was you had your image really well controlled and lit. I could see your face quite clearly. We've had some issues with that in the past. You had no problems with either the sound or the video at this aspect today. You also did a really great job with the pacing. I don't know if you had a chance to practice or not in the past, but you didn't have any repeat words. You had practically no ahs or ums. It was a very clean, professionally given speech. You also did a really good job with your gestures and your facial expressions. You had a great job also with the vocal variety. You told multiple stories and gave lots of examples so we could clearly follow along. What I thought was really good was the way you brought everything together. As I said, you went through a tremendous amount of information. It was very clear, easy to understand. And I like the way you start with a really clear beginning, lots of good points in the middle, and an excellent summary at the end. I really can't think of anything that I can think to improve this speech. Like I said, I think it's one of the best ones you've given in this year, well, in the last year or so. And I'm really looking forward to your next one. Thanks so much for giving it to us. Thanks. And with that, I become general evaluator again. I believe at this point, I am supposed to now turn over control back to our Toastmaster. So take it away, Jose.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Georgie. We now move to our table topics master. There was a change of roster, Georgie, but so I'll let you I'll let you take the general evaluator spot. So let's go on to our table topics, and our table topics master is Georgie again. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah.
So back to me again, not to be hypocritical, but taking all the slots, it seems. I'm truly not. All right, so with that, we're going to follow along with our topic of the day, which is creative pursuits. I will ask everyone questions. The idea is, especially with respect to table topics, that you should think about ways in which someone might ask you a really bizarre off-wall question, like possibly you're trapped in an elevator with a potential investor for your company. They'll ask you some really bizarre question. You have to try to sound intelligent for a minute or two while you formulate your thoughts and express yourself. With that, we get to practice it right here and right now. And we're going to talk about different areas of creative pursuits. To begin with, the first question I'm going to ask is, what creative person do you most admire and why? And I will look for any volunteers, and lacking any volunteers, I will choose one. Anesh, how are things going? Who do you think of when you think of a creative person that you admire and why?
Thank you, Georgie. That's really an interesting question. And if you ask me this question, the creative person that I admire and think is the one person that coming on mind is Elon Musk, and the way he started as Elon Musk. Since I went through his story way back, and as I remember a few points, and he was doing as a good student at school and all, but he was playing with computers and everything, and he studied computer engineering, and later he came out and he started different startups and everything, and the way he grew from as a normal common man to all the way to world's richest person, and the way he introduced this electric car. When electric car came out, all the other car companies were saying, hey, nobody loves or uses the electric car, but now the Tesla is a monopoly in manufacturing the battery powered electric cars and all. We definitely have to give credit to him. He's the one who's thinking all the way different direction and creating new things. And yeah, everybody knows about Elon Musk. I don't have to tell more, but yeah, that's what I feel.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much. All right. The next question I have is about your favorite creative pursuit, and that can certainly encompass a lot of different things. Creative pursuit is can cover many different areas. So what is your favorite creative pursuit, and how would you describe to someone why it's your favorite creative pursuit? Any volunteers? So then I shall choose, let's see, Harun.
Okay. Well, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. My favorite creative pursuit, I actually have a new favorite these days. It's something that I'm still learning. One of my longtime dreams has been to learn about woodworking and carpentry. And I finally decided that I am going to start working on that. So this year I actually spent some tools. I'm still working on how to actually arrange my shop, but I did manage to get together a small work desk and a dust collection system for me so that I can finally start indulging in this pursuit. I don't know if I'm ready to call myself creative. I'm still in the process of, I'm basically copying other people's designs right now. But I take solace in the fact that even if it's not creative, there's a lot of people who say out that, you know, every great artist starts off stealing from somebody else. So that's what I'm telling myself, that I don't have to be creative about it. I can just steal up somebody else and feel good about it. So that's my currently favorite creative pursuit. Thank you. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Harun, very much. That brings up an interesting point, which is part of creativity is also not to be hypocritical, but seeing what somebody else does and kind of borrowing their concept and solution as their, you know, your creative pursuit as well. With respect to that, when you look across at different things in the world, what did you consider one of the most creative solutions to a problem that you admired, that someone made a solution for a product? Sorry, let me say that again. What is the most creative solution to a problem that you have heard about that you thought was, oh, gee, that is a really clever way to do that? Can I get any volunteers on this subject? Okay. Wai-Ming, you just gave a speech about a very creative guy. Is there any creative solutions that you have heard about to problems that you thought, that was pretty cool, that you'd like to share with the rest of us?
Miss Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, most welcome guest. I have seen many creative solutions, but not to be hypercritical, I cannot remember any of them, especially in the morning like this. But certainly in terms of creativity, there are many interesting stuff. And as I talk, if I can think of any, I'll come up with it. But frankly, it's going to be hard. But at the same time, like when you're faced with a situation like this, your boss is coming to you or your investor is coming to you and asks, you know, what is the most creative thing? Then and you're standing there for 1 second or going up the elevator and you have to be able to give something Well, then one of the most creative stuff is what Haroon said, is you have to copy someone else because that's how you learn. You learn something from someone else, and then maybe you learn a few more times and copy a few more times. As long as in the end, you don't just keep copying, you're creating something new. That is a good pursuit. And someday I'll remember something or find something, I'll give a speech on the creative stuff. But today I cannot remember any of that stuff. Miss Toastmaster.
Okay, well done, well done. A creative solution for not having a creative solution. Continuing on the subject, talking about what are some of the best ways that you have to come up with creative ideas. So why don't I ask our Toastmaster of the day, Jose. I know you have a wide variety of interests, from reading to meditation to so many different things you do. Is there anything that you have found personally that works for you to come up with creative ideas?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Georgie. Yes, for me, creativity. The question is not so much how, it's for me, it's when, right? Creativity comes to me when I wake up, when in my dreams. That's when I get it. I found out that if I am in the middle of a project, I actually, before I sleep, I give the problem a thought one or two more times before I sleep, and then there'll be a dream somewhere along the way. And I actually have this. I actually have a notebook, a little notebook. So when I wake up, I take note, because I noticed that the solution from dreams doesn't actually give an actual answer, but it gives the mechanics of the answer. In other words, there's a little screenplay that comes up in your head, and it's giving you a hint of what is it, what you're supposed to be doing. And I noticed that. So yeah, so that's how I'm very creative. That, like I said, it's not how, but a lot of it is when. Yeah, back to you, Miss.
Thank you very
Vega.
much,
Yes.
Jose. I like the concept, the screenplay for your day. Excellent. Very, very creative idea. Right. With respect to that, what is there's a lot of different versions of creativity and things that are creative. I tend to think of things along the idea of the entertainment industry, games, media, movies, that sort of thing. What is your favorite creative pursuit? And are you more someone who does the creative pursuit or someone who more absorbs the creative pursuit? Does anybody want to volunteer? Got him. How are you with your creative pursuits? What's your favorite one, and do you do it yourself, or do you like to just watch other people's versions of their creative pursuits?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. So I'm a kind of person who watch all the creative pursuits. I always admire the solution that they come up with the mind. How could you come up with that solution? Like from a simple things that I see in my life or experience in my life. When I bought the cycle, how could someone come up with the solution? They connect physics with the law of gravity, and they helped commute both in terms of good to nature and good to health. Similarly, when White brothers, they come up with a solution of aeroplane by looking at how birds and other natural creatures ability to fly in the air, the aerodynamics principles, that blew my mind. I was trying to get into all those, how they come up with a thought, not into the technical perspective, how they they ended up with the thought that triggered the solution. Any simple work that I see in my life, like maybe an instrument to make a pancake, maybe a vessel to hold some food. Who created this? How did they come up with a solution? My friend used to kid me that, like, I'm going way beyond the Stone Ages. You should be a person to go to Stone Ages. Yes, I want to, because I want to understand how they came up with all the solutions. I'm not looking for a solution, instead, I'm looking for the spark. Is there anything special, trying to find those dots that leads to an ultimate solution? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. We have two more people who haven't answered any questions, but I'm not sure if anyone really, how people want to do that, if they want to answer any questions or not. I can come up with a few more questions, and I guess we have room for time for two more. Is that correct, Mr. Toastmaster?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, 2 more.
So would any of our guests like to take a question?
Hey, Georgie, sure, I can try.
All right, great. All right, so let's see. The question I have is that there are a lot of ways to be creative. Sometimes people like to interact with other people when coming up with new ideas. Other times they prefer to be kind of on their own. So with respect to that, are you the type of person who is more creative around others and or on your own? And if so, what do you do? What do you find is your most, the thing that stimulates the most creativity to you? For example, maybe if you do things by yourself, you go for a walk. Maybe if you are more of a person that works with others, maybe you do more whiteboarding. What is your best technique for being your most creative yourself?
Sure. Thank you for that question. Just a heads up, I think my internet is a little bit unstable. So if I crack out, please bear with me. So that's a very interesting question. And building on top of all the speeches that my fellow Toastmaster has done, I kind of resonate with the idea that most of the creativity is a borrowed idea, right? Most of the new things that you see out there, being from the technology background, I can give some examples like Uber, like Airbnb. If you go in the past and start digging down the history, you would see somebody else have already tried that idea and somehow failed. So all these people are essentially going through the use cases, going through study the failures and successes, and just building on top of it. So for me, I think creativity coming from scratch is always nice, but working with people, going down the path of not reinventing the wheel is something that gears you up a lot, right? For me, it's a combination of both. My creativity usually starts with brainstorming with people, understanding, pitching my idea, understanding their feedback, understanding the room for improvement, and then maybe going back, sitting down, sitting heads down, going through all the thoughts that I have in my head, every feedback that I've got, and then coming up with a more streamlined approach of how to solve a problem or how to do things in a better and more creative way. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And with that, in theory, just about everybody has had a question. Would anybody else like a question before we wrap things up for the day? Okay. With that, then, I will turn control back over to our Toast. No, wait, I think I'm supposed to turn over to the GE. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then I am
Goes to
GE.
GE.
So I
Oh.
take over again. Yay! So the whole second part of this meeting is basically me. Excellent. As general evaluator, I am going to first start by evaluating the meeting. We started on time. We were well organized. Everything was quite smoothly handled by Jose, our Toastmaster. Well done. Great job. I have to say that, without being hypocritical, I thought we did a very good job. Once again, everything was well controlled, well explained, and I think that everyone hopefully got a little something out of it. As far as things in which we could do to improve, I don't think there really was anything. Maybe a slight issue with figuring out the schedule just last minute, but we always seem to have that kind of issue, so that's not that unusual for us. Let's see, I believe the next thing to be done is, if Hannah was still on here, I'd be doing the evaluations. I thought she did a really good job with the evaluation. Once again, she summarized the points in Gautam's speech quite well. I can't think of anything that I would say that I would improve. She did bring up the point about vocal variation. I could see the point on that. With respect to Gautam, the only other thing I might suggest is that you can go back and listen. I was listening to a little bit of interference on your microphone. It was kind of catching on your shirt, so you might want to check that next time. Other than that, I think you did a really good job with the speech. Very clear and easy to follow. And other than that, I can't think of anything much that we need to do, except I thought we had 3 speeches, so maybe next time if someone wants to give a speech, we can bring in something last minute if people are interested in that. Other than that, all good. And with that, I will then bring up our duty masters for the day. Let's see, I guess I will start with our grammarian, which is Harun, I believe.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I didn't really catch any grammar, but I did note some interesting phrases, especially in our evaluation. One phrase that I really liked Hannah used was ingesting excitement. That was interesting. I'm sorry, not ingesting, but injecting incitement into the speech. When she spoke about how Gautam was introducing a lot of feeling into his speech. I caught on that as well. And then, of course, Jose's use of the phrase hypocritical, hype, but not hypocritical, which I thought was an interesting play. And and Georgie actually used another interesting phrase about compressing, of how Wai Ming, during her evaluation, compressed the topic, the person that Wai Ming was talking about, his life into 5 minutes. I thought that was really well done. That was something that those are the few things that I caught on. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Harun. I just want to remind everyone that we have a link in the chat for the voting. So please click on the link and put down who you thought was the best or most improved table topic, speaker, and evaluator for today. And we will get our vote total later in the meeting.
Okay. Can you tell us who the speakers were who for table topics?
Sure. Again, if someone could type while I'm talking, that'd be even better. I have trouble doing both. So today's speakers were Gautam and Wai Ming. The evaluators were Hannah and myself. And just about everybody today spoke as far as table topics go.
Okay.
Right. And with that, I will then, let's see, ask our timer for the report, please.
This general evaluator, fellow Toastmaster, being the timer, I do not have to be hypercritical at all. So I just read off the time. So in the prepared speeches, Gautam spoke for 5 minutes and 8 seconds. I spoke for 8 minutes and 10 seconds. In the evaluation, Hannah spoke for 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and then Georgie 3:16. In the table topics, Anesh 138, Harun 128, myself 136, Jose 118, Gautam 154, and Sarab 139. That's the timer's report, Ms. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. And let's see, we also need to get our report from the word master. I believe that's Jose today. Jose?
Thank you. Yes. Yes, thank you, Ms. General Evaluator. The word for today is hypercritical. I picked, I have a list. I said it, Hannah, Georgie, and Wyming. I may have missed somebody if I have lost in my thoughts, but so those are the ones that use the word. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, and let's see, do we have any joke master for today? I'll
I have
give
a
people,
joke.
okay, go ahead.
So a guy was driving down a country road and a calf was crossing, and he was busy with his cell phone, and boom, he hit the calf. The calf fell to the side of the road. A farmer came up and say, "Hey, partner, you ran over my calf. It's gonna die. You have to pay." And the guy goes, "Oh, I'm so really sorry, sir. How much is your calf?" "Well, it's $200, but it grows. Later on, it will be $900 in the farmer in the market. So I'll want you to pay me $900 for this calf." "But it's $200," he said. No, 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 it's $900, and I want it now." "Okay." So he wrote the check, and he goes, "Okay, she said $900. Okay, there you go. I give you $900 for a calf." "Yeah, but it's post dated 6 years from now. You can get your money then." That's the joke.
Yay. All right, and we also need our awe counter. Gautam, can you please give us the awe count?
Thank you, everyone, and fellow Toastmasters. So I counted hours and reports for throughout the speech, throughout the meeting. Jose, its count is 8. Myself, 5. Wyming, it's 6. Anish, it's 8. Georgie, it's 3. Hannah, it's 3. Harun, it's 9. Saurabh, it's 7. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, I believe that is all of our duty masters for the day. The only thing left, I believe now, is our ballot counter. So I will be returning control of our meeting back to our acting president, Harun.
Thank you, Georgie.
Oh,
Madam
wait,
General-
hold on, sorry, did
go on.
I did get Jose, right, with the word count? The word of the day count?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, never mind, sorry. Go ahead, Harun, sorry.
Thank you, Georgie, Madam General Evaluator. At this time, I'm going to ask our guests to give any comments, feedback, and so Crimsy, if you have any feedback, that would be great.
Feedback, I don't know, this is my first one, so I don't really have a lot to compare to, but I would say that overall this was really well run. I didn't know what to expect, and I liked how it was like, we have this section, that section, you know exactly what's about to happen, and then you review it after it happens. That was appreciated. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so now, do we have any announcements or any? Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
Mute. Okay. Yes. For your educational goals, could you please email me or send me a chat as far as educational? I have to do a report after this. Thank you.
Okay. And now I think the next thing that we have to do is fill up any roles that we may have. for next week. Do we have a Toastmaster? Do we have a volunteer? Hey, Wei Ming, thank you. I am planning to be a speaker. I'm definitely going to finish my speech by next week, knock on wood. But I do need a volunteer for table topics. Any volunteers?
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
Jose, are you? Would you like? Are you doing?
I'll be table topic,
Yeah.
right?
And we need a second speaker.
I can speak.
Oh, thank you, Georgie. Any volunteers for evaluators?
I'll take one.
Got them. I'm putting you down for evaluating me.
Sure.
And I need a second evaluator as well.
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you, Anish. And I think we'll have, we can fill up the other roles later. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to announce the winners now. So for our best table topics was myself. Our best evaluator by a wide margin was Hannah. Unfortunately, she's not here to join us, but I'll let her know. And our best speaker for this year, for this meeting today, was by a very big margin, Wei Ming.
Mhm. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, winners. So at this time, I'm going to close our meeting. Anybody is welcome to hang out.
Do you want to take a photo?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Forgot about the photo. Let me just put it into grid view. And smile, everybody. Okay. And I better put this on our WhatsApp group and record it in perpetuity. Okay. Thank you, everybody. So,
Thank you all.
yeah.